Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to another episode of Wings, Beers, and Tears, your DMV sports podcast. Feels like forever we have shared some content with everybody. So cheers. Welcome to some real live sports.
Cheers.
I can't believe we are actually here, middle of July, and we're going to get some real, honest-to-God, live professional sports here in the great US of A. First of all, let's check in with the gentleman. Jerry, how are you, sir?
Hello.
Jeremy?
Yo.
And I am Todd, and we have been hunkered down like all of you, and slowly but surely getting back to some normal routines and some, getting out and about a little bit here and there. Last time we were on with you, there were lots of plans in place for the, return to play scenarios, et cetera. And it was at that point, it was still 50-50 as to whether any of these leagues would play. But, as it stands right now, NHL training camps tomorrow. NBA players are going to be down in Orlando if they aren't already. For what it's worth, MLS teams are down in Orlando, but that's a whole separate shit show right now. And Major League Baseball has its plan for a 60-game season. So we actually get like major sports leagues with their return to play. It's going to be very different, but exciting times ahead. And I'm really hoping to tune in and watch some honest-to-God live sports of players that I love, teams that I love, and to kind of see what everything looks like. So we'll get to that later. Right now, big news on the home front here with your favorite burgundy and gold Washington Redskins, which are not going to be the Redskins for very much longer.
Nope.
Been a long time coming. So let's get right into it. And I want to go to the resident Redskin expert on the panel, and that would be one, Jerry. What's your thoughts?
I'm a Ravens fan, dude.
I know, but you're the Redskins expert. Let's be honest.
What do you do when you get succumbed by the mob? It's time to go.
Yeah, we knew this was coming, though.
Well, we didn't know it was coming until recently with the way things are. But once the investors started bailing, that was done. It was history.
Yeah, they could only hold off, the media and the push for so long. And you said it, money talks. And as soon as that came off the table,
personally, I never really cared about the name. I didn't care if they changed it or didn't. I was never tied to the Redskins. I don't know why. It was such a big deal. But of the leading contenders, I like the Red Wolves. I'm pretty stoked about that. It will not be Red Wolves because I like it, but I think that's pretty awesome, man.
So on our way in to do the podcast, Fred Smoot was just on Fox Radio,
right,
and a national radio show, and apparently his groundswell of his Twitter and Instagram and everything, it is just massivly popular right now. He's such a popular figure.
I've never seen the Redskins fandom. If you go on Riggo Rag or Hog's Nest or Hogs Haven,
yeah,
it is pretty much, I would say 85 to 90% Red Wolves.
Yep.
And I don't think it's going to be the Red Wolves. I think it's going to be the Warriors because that's what they've been planning for so long. Like in the past month, or ever since this happened, the past couple of weeks, it's always been Warriors. Because that fits the military thing for Rivera.
Right.
They initially wanted to go with some Native American, and that could fit both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they want to do that anymore, but I think it's going to be the Warriors. And it's not something, we're not talking about like a youth league here. We're talking about the professional sports team in the NFL. You have to pick a name. That's the easy part. And then take the steps to rebrand it, which is the longer part, so you can't change it midstream.
Right.
So I think it's going to be the Warriors, but I love the Red Wolves. And I think 90% of the people out there love the Red Wolves too.
I think so too. Jeremy?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to say. I'm down with Red Wolves. Sounds fine to me. I like the idea of keeping the R somehow. Not that honestly, my big thing is I just want this to be done with because we did all know it was coming. We've probably known for 20, 30 years, and there's never been any real traction to it. And all of a sudden, last weekend, boom, and it's going to be done probably before the next pod.
I would just say this. If there's any team in professional sports that needs a reset and needs a fresh start, it's this fucking team.
No question about it.
Could you imagine if you got a new team name, a change in ownership, and a new stadium?
Yeah.
That would be freaking awesome.
Well, but
that's exactly what this team has needed.
It's exactly what they've needed. I use the term, I was listening back to an old pod, I use the term, this team needs a hard reset.
Yes,
and no way you get a hard reset until your hand is forced. And now their hand is forced, and hopefully the next, subsequent actions will be positive towards rebranding, towards, like you said, getting a new minority ownership group in there because the other guys are bailing. So, see ya.
They can't bail because no one's going to work. No one's going to buy ownership in the Redskins if they don't have control.
Yeah, the reason they want to bail is the same reason nobody wants their stuff.
Right. There's always going to be a faction. There's always going to be a faction.
Yeah, but nobody wants to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to not have any say and see a team that's so poorly run, at least in the past, and have to answer to Dan Snyder. So if you're Jeff Bezos, that's the cliche guy, right? Because he's got a ton of money and he wants to be an owner, and apparently all the other owners in NFL want him to be an owner, right? And he's here because he owns the Post.
Yep.
You're not going to buy 40% of the Redskins if you still have to listen to Dan Snyder. You're going to buy the controlling interest of the Redskins, and it's not for sale. So I can't imagine anybody that really gives a damn and actually wants power is going to buy the minority share of the ownership of the Redskins.
No, you're probably right about that,
or whatever they're called.
But yeah, right. The Washington Football Club. That's what I was saying. Washington FC. Take like soccer cues. You don't actually have like a true mascot. It's just you are Washington, Washington D.C. Football Club.
But I think it's going to be the Warriors. Back to the name.
Honestly,
I think that's honestly
it's not the worst name until Red Wolves really gained traction, and I hadn't really thought about that as a viable alternative. Warriors would have been number one in the clubhouse for me.
With me too.
But
same here.
But like everybody else, I love the Red Wolves idea. Love it.
Because you can keep the HTTR.
Keep the HTTR, and that old jersey with the R on the helmet.
Yes,
you can.
That's awesome.
Absolutely,
they have a couple of them actually.
Absolutely. So you got all kinds of options to throw back with the R, do some cool retro looking jerseys, keep the color scheme the same. The history in the club, and that's what the naysayers that don't want to change the name. They go, no, I'm a Redskins fan, and if they change their name, I'm gone. Just go to hell. Just bye. See you later. Whatever.
Is it that important?
Seriously, the fact that
no one cares if you leave.
Yeah, exactly right. You're going to be one of many that have left recently anyway. This team needs a hard reset so fucking badly.
It does. It needs a fresh start.
It does. But the next generation of Redskins fans, hopefully Red Wolves fans, the idea of the old school, I think of Doc Walker when I think of Washington, right? All he does is call them
the Tarantulas.
all he does is call them the Burgundy and Gold. I mean, that is where the tradition is deep rooted. It's in the color scheme. It's in the tradition of those old, coaches and GMs that were just lauded and put in years and years of great work and brought championships. So if the Burgundy and Gold is the core of the rebrand, the name almost becomes secondary at that point. But the Red Wolves has so many more pluses than Warriors does as far as logo and branding, in my opinion.
That's what the young kids want, and that's who's going to this franchise is going to grow with them.
Correct. We don't give a shit about the 65-year-old guy who's like, oh, this isn't the same team. You know what, dude? Doesn't fucking matter. What do your kids and grandkids say? That's the most.
That's
important
what Kevin Sheehan said. He said, Warriors are going to win out in the day. Red Wolves is for some youth basketball team. Well, go fuck yourself, dude. I mean,
doesn't he coach youth basketball?
Yeah, you're not the guy who needs to be making. You shouldn't have.
I'd say that to him, regardless of his opinion on this.
But a guy his age shouldn't have an opinion on this matter because your time has passed, Kevin.
Yep, agreed.
But he's connected. He's probably right. He's
probably right, and I think you make a good point. Even though the Redskins brass keeps it close to the vest, i.e. Dan Snyder and his cronies. They don't really tell anybody what's going on. They've certainly been planning for this for some time.
I think it's Warriors. I think it was that after 24 hours after the decision made. Mm-hmm. Like I said, picking the name is easy. Branding it, trademarking it, getting all that, getting the machine moving is the hard part.
Yep.
And you don't want to say the name and then, okay, we're going to call it that next year.
Right.
This year they're going to be the Redskins. So you got to start the process.
Now, didn't FedEx say, obviously they're not going to rebrand overnight. You don't do that with a professional sports franchise. But basically they said we will keep our signage and continue to pay you for the naming rights, for 1 year. And then at that point, all Redskins logos and names need to be removed. So I think for this coming season, whatever the season's going to look like, we'll get into that. They're going to be the Redskins for this season.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Really?
I think that
you think they're going to completely rebrand?
Yes.
Well,
holy shit!
They may just be like we said, Washington. You know, or I don't know if they would go as far as saying FC, but they may only be Washington. But they're not going to be the Redskins week 1, I don't think.
Well, I don't think they are either. I think they're going to be whatever their name is going to be. If
well,
it's the Washington Warriors, they're going to replace Redskins, and they're going to put Warriors where Redskins is on the jersey, right? Keep the exact same color scheme,
right?
And on your helmet, you either
do a
you
W.
just put a W.
Yeah.
Or they can just remove the logo and just go with the stripes.
Or they could like Penn
Brown
State,
style,
like Penn
Brown,
State.
yeah.
Yeah. I think they'll just put a W for like a stopgap.
Well, they might. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and what FedEx had said was they were not going to continue sponsoring after this season if the name wasn't changed.
Right.
That was basically what they said.
Right.
So
I guess I took that to mean, we know that the logo is going to exist for a while during the interim, during the shift, but as soon as you make it official, we're going to continue to be on board
Right.
as the naming.
I mean, the dumbasses politicians down in Washington are horrible.
Well, there's many of them.
Yeah, but they said they'll never move into because I think everybody wants the Redskins or the team or Washington. I'm just going to call them the Redskins. I think
Still their
everybody.
name.
Yeah, I think everybody wants the Redskins back in Washington, preferably at the old RFK site. So Horton, Eleanor Holmes Norton. Yeah, she said change the name. Now, once that's going to be done, she said bring them back to RFK. But then now everybody else is saying there's 15 other issues of why they can't happen. I don't understand it why, but I think that's the most logical place. If you get a new brand and a new stadium, that's exactly what this franchise needs.
Without question. And by the way, whoever's saying the RFK site is compromised or whatever is completely full of shit. Yeah. It's the only spot in the city with the existing infrastructure to allow 65,000 people.
You got metro parking, got everything you need.
Dude, you're right off of a major highway, which has tributaries to other major highways. I mean, the reason RFK existed for so long in such good stature was because of its location.
Yeah.
It was a dump of a stadium the last 20 years they played there, but the location was ideal.
It's just, anytime you get politicians involved, especially those morons down there, they can't get out of their own way.
Oh, they can't. No.
Well, no, I mean, you can just read a text trail or a Twitter trail, and it's like you said, as soon as this happens, we'll pave the way for it. And then one guy will come out and say, well, there's too many other issues, and 3 other people are like, yeah, but those are easy to get around. So it's just like, which one is it? And then, so we won't know, but I think this is the start, and then at least we'll probably know quickly.
Yeah,
what
fuck
the
all
next
of them.
step
They
is.
just chase their tail and get nothing done anyway.
The more interesting question, though, is the name change and the culture we live in right now and the pressure to have it done, is that really a power play to get Dan Snyder out of there?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because
that's the bigger question.
That's not a conspiracy theorist, but I certainly had those thoughts go through my head.
Is this something where Fred Smith says, this is my chance?
I think that that would be that's like worst case is he's like, no, I'm not changing the name. I mean, worst case in some ways, best case in others. If he had said that, absolutely, that's what this is for, because he's gone if that's the case at this point. Unfortunately, for a lot of us, he said, okay, I understand. Money rules here. I'll make the change. So now we're stuck with him again.
He was smart enough to understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, it was no lose for those
and
guys.
he's pretty reclusive as it is, so everybody's like, oh, he's got his tail between his legs. He always has.
Yeah,
he stays
even
away.
heard from Snyder. It's like
he makes terrible decisions from afar. He meddles from afar, but you never hear from him because he's never physically here.
But this is the problem of not having a team president. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, we need Bruce Allen back.
No, we don't need Bruce Allen, but we need somebody other than Ron Rivera, who's been here 15 minutes to have to make, because he's involved in decision making, and he doesn't give a flying fuck about Washington, right? I mean, they were just the team that hired him,
right?
Really,
every night he just dreams of how many sacks that front seven is going to have. That's all he's thinking about.
But I mean, now this guy, from all intents and purposes, it's Ron Rivera and Dan Snyder making these, huge decisions. This is a huge decision for the next 40 years of the franchise, and you're letting a guy who's been here for 3 months make the decision.
And it's kind of the names of a handful of people in Snyder's court just came out in the last couple of weeks, and I don't have the names of them because they're pretty insignificant as far as I'm concerned. But clearly he's got a couple attorneys that he works with closely for advice on how to roll things out. He's got a couple PR people and marketing people, but he won't let anyone talk to the press.
Right.
Then he doesn't talk to the press.
No.
So to your point, The one person the press can get to is Rivera, and he's only been here for a few minutes, so it's in his best interest just to play nice and
what
be
I'm
politically correct.
saying is it's unfair to him. He came here to coach.
Completely unfair.
He's not doing this. Is not on his. This is not in his scope of job description.
Not at all.
Maybe he relishes it. I don't know. I can't imagine he does. It's just an added burden on him when he's trying.
Yep.
He has a new quarterback who's never been successful, a new offense, and a defense who was terrible. And he's trying to recreate that. Now he's got this on his plate.
No, I agree. I agree.
This is where you need a team president who can be the buffer.
Now, on the upside, and let's transition to the next talking point here with regards to football in the fall. I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point that the NFL is headstrong on playing this fall.
It's amazing.
It's incredible, but I mean, they are already. You are seeing ads for the football kickoff September 10th.
Yes.
They are going to play because they can make a shit ton of money even without fans.
Which is and there's really no reason not to play.
Yes. So there's that, which leads us to college football.
That's a shit show.
Because I am telling you right now, there's no way in hell we see college football in the fall. We don't see any college sports in the fall. It's simply not going to happen.
I don't know why they don't do what just Jeremy said freaking 2 months ago.
Push back to the
play
spring.
it in the spring.
Push it back
just
to the
suck
spring.
It up. I understand. It's a terrible, right? You're losing so much money. Other sports are going to suffer. What do you do about the draft? I get it. You have to play only conference schedules. There's so many drawbacks, but if you're at least you get to play.
Right.
The worst thing is, okay, we're going to play. Okay, now we're not going to play. We're going to play conference schedules. Okay, now we're only going to play 4 games. I mean, why don't you just fucking say we're going to play in the spring and pray for a vaccine, which is probably not going to work, but at least give everybody the illusion that they're safe.
Absolutely right.
Which is what it is. It's just give it an illusion that everybody's safe.
Yep.
And go play in the spring.
I just think the liability of playing college sports is way too high. And to your point, they're going to lose money. They've already chalked that up. The money's already lost. They're not going to make that much money if they play with no fans anyway.
But what are you going to do? You're going to have the Pac-10 or Pac-12 not play, the Big Ten not play, SEC play. I mean, what the fuck? That doesn't even make any sense. You got to have
makes zero sense. And right now with the conferences coming out, so far it's Big Ten and Pac-10
and ACC. ACC's this week. They're going
right. So essentially, those 3 bigger conferences have said we're only going to play intra-conference, which they've already said now. Notre Dame's already lost 3 games, and BYU's lost 5.
Notre Dame's almost basically lost all their games.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're in the
which is the
and
dumbest.
Hawaii's lost 4 games because
nobody wants to go.
Nobody wants to.
Actually, it's probably Hawaii didn't want them to come there.
I think that's part of it. Seriously,
which is the dumbest fucking thing, because if you're Maryland and you got to fly to Michigan. Who gives a fuck if you have to fly to West Virginia or drive to West Virginia? Who gives a fuck? I mean, how is that?
And that's why
it's
completely illogical. It makes
the fucking
no sense.
dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's so idiotic.
I think it's mainly because in college sports, the conferences, I mean, the schools, I guess, technically have the most power, but the conference has a lot more power than the NCAA, for example. So it's easier to work, we use the term bubble all the time, in your conference's bubble at least.
Well, you have more flexibility with scheduling and all that.
Yep. No, there are some things that make it logistically easier, but from a general human standpoint in the climate we're in, it's idiotic to think about doing this.
These people who run the conference are not stupid people, right? There's obviously a reason business-wise they're doing it. But,
some of them are stupid,
but common sense-wise, if you're really about the safety of the kids, it's stupid as shit, because there's no reason. You're not safer going to Michigan than you are going to Morgantown.
Hell no.
It's just
like you said. I mean, do you want a plane full of Nebraska players and everything coming out here? They wouldn't want to come out here.
Right.
They barely have it out there. Why the fuck would they want to come out to the DMV or to Rutgers? Would you really want to go to Jersey
or have us out there or whatever it is?
Yeah.
And if you're like a team like West Virginia, your conference is so fucking far away anyway. You got to go to Texas. I'd rather go to Maryland.
Or
I'd rather go anywhere. Am I out of conference?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So with college football pretty much being, it's a foregone conclusion. We will not see it until
it's a foregone conclusion at this table. It's not a foregone conclusion when they're doing a money analysis and they say, well, if we can make $1 million more playing now, even if it's 4 games.
I know, but you see the traction on ESPN and all the big outlets right now, and they're saying it's only a matter of time until we hear.
But tell me why we're doing it. There hasn't been one college kid that I know of and have heard of, other than the rare extreme kid that actually gets really sick from this.
Yeah, that's a conversation for a different pod, I think,
But,
because
I don't understand it.
it is.
I don't understand.
I agree with you. It's not.
Look at the science. Well, what's the science? No one's getting sick from it.
It is riddled with irony and contradiction, which makes this conversation about why we aren't playing sports even more puzzling.
But don't you look at the Premier League?
Yeah.
And they say, well, they're still playing.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody seems pretty happy. And the German soccer league, well, that seemed pretty healthy.
Yep.
And they're all together and they're playing soccer. They're in each other's faces.
Oh yeah.
I think football, honestly, is safer than that because you can have it. I mean, Schutt just came out with a mask. It's a 2-tier mask. You can have a visor on the front and a visor on the bottom where you cannot get spit unless it goes up underneath.
Right. Right.
So you're actually safer.
Yeah. Look.
It's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Look, man, we're going to look back on this in a few years, hopefully, and go, we were living a real, honest-to-God Twilight Zone episode. And no one knew what the fucking truth was. No one knew what happened.
This is what happens when it's
It
politics.
already feels like that, so I certainly hope we hear more
It's
about it
all
later.
politics. It's all election year. It's all that shit.
It is all that shit. But the facts are.
But I still don't want to get it. I still go to the beach and I walked on the boardwalk like I had like I was surrounded by lepers.
Yeah.
Don't think I did. And I talk a big game, but I was walking there. I
So
sat
here's the
6
deal.
feet apart. I had my mask
so
on.
while we're getting onto this topic, we all talk about how much we hate the masks and this and that and the other. I fucking keep this thing with me all the time, and when I go to the grocery store, you goddamn right, I'm staying away.
I have masks on
I watch
everywhere I'm supposed to go. I follow the rules.
Dude,
I do
I
what
watch
they tell
people
me.
if I'm going to go get milk and eggs, and I see like a bunch of carts over there, I just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
Wait
Oh, yeah.
a minute. I'm like, I'm not going to saddle up next to my neighbor. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I talk a big game when it comes to sports because
Agreed.
I want to see it. But
Right.
when it comes to action, I'm like, you guys go first.
Yeah, exactly right.
Let me know.
You're
Let me
preaching to the choir.
I hope you don't die, Jeremy.
So if college football is off the table, now you have now you own the audience. The NFL's always owned the audience, but now they even more so do.
You're absolutely right.
So
You're absolutely right.
They can play games on Wednesday evenings, Thursday evenings, Friday night lights,
Absolutely.
NFL style. I mean, they could fucking market the shit out of this thing because I got to tell you, I got into an argument with a buddy of mine. He's like, "Yeah, the TV money isn't that great." I said, "Bullshit." I said, "Liverpool, Man City." 2 weeks ago, in the middle of the week, Liverpool had already won the title, but they're considered the two best clubs in the world. The NBCSN share rivaled in New York, Chicago, and Dallas was above the Super Bowl ratings. People want to see live sports.
Yeah.
They're dying. They're like, oh shit, two huge clubs. I'm tuning in. I mean, there's so many fucking dollars. The NBC Sports Network stock
You're
has
absolutely right.
just skyrocketed.
And the thing is, I'll tell you what, this is something I really hadn't thought about. I mean, we definitely thought about it in terms of playing every night of the week or whatever it might be. But I mean, why would the NFL generally want to avoid a Friday night? That's when people go out.
High school football. Yeah,
High school football, people go out.
People go out.
Yeah, no, good call, Jay.
So now, everybody's going to, stay in and watch it. Stay in,
Are you
be
fucking
safe,
kidding
watch
me?
NFL.
I will watch every game. I don't give a shit if it's the Texans and the whomevers.
You got it.
On a Wednesday night, I'm there.
but you-
Because it's major sports. It's
Yes.
professional sports.
Look,
And
my buddy has a kid who plays American Legion baseball, and I'm like, when's next game? Friday night. He's like, I'll be there. I haven't seen a live sporting event in like 5 fucking months. It seems
know.
like, right? So
I know.
I'm going to go watch 3 innings of an American Legion game in baseball. I fucking hate baseball.
right.
But I'm like, I'll go. Yeah, I just need to see some sort of competition. I haven't seen it.
So with the captive audience, I think the NFL is going to find a way to play.
They're going to dominate.
So speaking of captive audiences,
And,
here
and
over
they're
the next.
and they're screwing the players because they're going to hold money in escrow.
Oh, of course. Well, that's a whole different.
But I'm telling you, it's a monster.
Oh, it really is.
If we think the soccer ratings are high, just wait.
Oh,
until
just
NFL
you
comes
wait.
in.
Absolutely right. And it could be the fucking Browns and Bengals on a Wednesday night.
I'll watch it.
Oh, I've got my 6-pack and my popcorn, and I'm like, let's go. You know, I mean, that's going to be awesome.
I'm waiting for Cowboys Warriors week 3 or whatever it is.
Cowboys Warriors. I'm offended by the
Warriors.
Cowboys name, by the way.
I wonder if the Chiefs are gone. I mean, the Braves came out today and said they're not changing.
So
We'll
I've-
see.
I've heard-
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and I've heard the Blackhawks, they aren't budging because apparently they have ties with the actual Blackhawk tribe,
Yeah, like
lineage and everything else,
yeah.
and they
But-
see it as
Wait till the media gets a hold of it. And
Yeah.
those people who are offended in the media. That's who's offended. That's
you can't
that's
say
who's going
anything.
to change it.
Can't say anything anymore. I'm sure that we have offended millions of people right now.
Our 6, we probably lost at least one of our 6 listeners.
Apologies to all of our Native American listeners.
Yeah, really.
Not for being disrespectful or for not being very good at what we do here.
Yeah, we
Whatever. So if we're talking about captive audiences and ratings and everything, let's look short term now. So you've got baseball. I'm going to put that third on my pecking order here. Then you've got the NBA with their return to play thing in Orlando.
Who gives a fuck?
And then you've got the NHL. Now,
I hope all those fuckers get corona.
Jesus Christ. They probably already had it. So with the NHL coming back, the schedule, the preliminary schedule starting August 1st for TV basically just made me drool.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you've got the hub city in Toronto,
Yeah.
and you've got the hub city in Edmonton. There's a 2-hour time difference, which means here on the East Coast, we will have games at noon, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10.
It's like March Madness.
Almost every day for about a month.
Yeah, every day. Well, at least that first week, it's 5 or 6 games
Yes.
a day.
I
Yes.
mean,
Every
you want
day.
to talk about like, holy shit, this is awesome. I think, I can't wait. Now, the product on the ice, I think is going to be shit, especially
It'll
those
be-
first couple weeks.
What's the right word here? Equally shitty across the
No,
teams?
it will
Yeah.
be equally shitty, but it's just, I think it's going to look slow. I think it's going to look,
Yeah, but only the purists will realize that.
It's going to look like the defense today in the Spurs.
No, only
Emotional
the purists are going to look. It's going to
Yeah,
look
maybe
like
so.
guys on a hockey, and there's all going to be almost goals every third shift, which is pretty cool to the layman.
And honestly, I hope it's almost like a throwback to like the 80s. I just hope there's a shit ton of goals. I hope it's just, a lot of 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s and just,
Well, here's the thing, right? I read something that as a Caps fan, you hate Pittsburgh, but you really need Pittsburgh to beat Montreal because
you
if
don't want- yep.
you don't want those two. They get the first fucking 2 picks in some draft or something.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that work?
no,
they
yeah.
filed bankruptcy 15 times. They put 70,000 people out of work, and they get the first 2 fucking picks.
Well, and they were gifted Crosby already, so that's a different
And he's not
story.
even Canadian, but that's another fact.
Nova Scotian.
He's Nova Scotian.
No, so as we get into hockey and we get closer, I'm excited. Some of the players that are opting out currently.
So
no
who are some of the names?
Okay, so one of the biggest names that you would recognize is Mike Green in Edmonton. He's not going to play. Apparently, he's got some very personal health issues that relate to his family, so he's not going. It's perfectly fine. No offense,
man.
Mikey. We had you in your prime.
You're in,
you know?
you're in the third pair, dude.
Yeah, exactly right. So some of the names that have come out and said they're not playing are a little bit aging veterans, a little bit older. They don't really need this at
free
this
agents.
point. Correct. They,
But they're going to be free agents. They may not want to.
Yep. And they're like, you know what? It's just not worth it to me. I don't begrudge anybody.
No, if
One
you
of
don't
the
want to play, you
interesting
don't want to
ones
play.
is Max Domi.
Yep.
Because he's diabetic.
He's diabetic. Yeah.
and
Correct.
so they're actually, I guess
They gave him an extension on being
it's
able
through
to.
tomorrow at 5:00 is when you can, officially opt out or whatever.
But he gets to keep his salary.
Well, he's already made most of it.
Yeah.
He-
Right,
But
but,
no, I
but
think
did he get
it's,
paid for the rest of the year?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
So-
sure.
Yeah.
That's
So,
cool.
hey, at this point, and we said this last time, if any pro athletes say this is not worth the risk for me personally, that is 100% your choice.
Yeah, but you know what? I did say that, but now I'm going to go back on it.
Okay.
If it's for health reasons, I get it.
Sure.
If it's for money reasons, because it's not worth it to
Well,
you
that's baseball.
financially, right? Or look, I'm a free agent. Like a lot of the Wizards are not playing, right? And a lot of it, like Bertrand's, right? He's a free agent. Why does he want to go play 7 more games?
Why are the Wizards even playing? Why are they even there? They're the 19. We said this last time. It's the NBA model is a goddamn disgrace, in my opinion.
Right.
It's a complete
That's
joke.
That's why I joan on the NBA. First of all, there's
I
no,
love that you just said Joan.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
there's no freaking team worth rooting for, and everybody's unlikable, right?
Yeah.
Because they all stand up on their pedestals and they get their shit made in China, which is probably the most egregious human rights country in the world, but yet they stand up on their pedestal. What the fuck, the NBA and all the local teams suck.
They're so bad. Okay.
So-
I know we're spitballing here, but this is like this is like your ADD episode here. We're just going to be all over the place.
Yeah, they're fucking.
Speaking
jokes.
of the NBA
Yeah,
and how bad
frustrating.
teams are, is the Wizards name the worst mascot ever?
It's go back to the
fucking
Bullets, dude.
atrocious.
Were there more murders because they were the Washington Bullets? Does anybody fucking even think about that shit?
Washington Basketball Club is better than the Wizards.
Honestly,
but none of those-
Oh, here we go. If we can get the Redskins to adopt Red Wolves, make them the Washington Warriors basketball team. They already have the
because you
colors.
already have a
How about
Warriors.
the Washington Redskins?
You already have a Golden State Warriors. You
Oh,
can't-
it's a different Warrior.
no. They have the better Warrior.
You know what? I really didn't know this. Apparently, the earliest logos of the Golden State Warriors were Indian logos back in the 40s. I had no idea.
And you know why they changed it? Because they were smart enough to know back in the 50s that it's probably offensive to have that logo. That logo is freaking. Of course, it's terrible. Has anybody not looked at that logo like, yeah, that's not offensive?
Bridge.
I don't know how this name wasn't changed 20 years ago.
I know. So, all right. So, getting back to NHL, NBA,
but fuck the
MLB restart. Yeah, we're not NBA fans here. It is pro sports. I will probably tune in just to see what it's like. Yeah, for me, it's going to be curiosity.
Yeah.
I just want to see the production value. I want to see how everything rolls out. So,
I won't watch a second. Fuck them.
So the MLS did a very similar version of what the NBA is doing, and they're calling it the comeback tournament, or they have another name for it, but it's a tournament. So it's an actual, there's brackets. You get out of the first round, you move on, et cetera, et cetera. So it's separate than being part of their regular season. But the idea was, let's bring everybody back. Let's put them in the bubble down in Orlando and everything else.
Yeah, you got your group play, your bracket
Correct.
play, all that
So
stuff.
I don't know if you guys know this, but DC United was supposed to play Toronto this morning.
They were supposed to play yesterday, and that didn't happen. And they were supposed to play this morning, and that didn't happen.
So this morning they're out there warming up, and the commissioner comes out and he's like, "Nah, apparently a DC United player had tested positive."
I think one from each team, right?
Yep, and then I
Or
think
he was staff,
it was one of
but-
the head trainers at Toronto, and so he said they were both removed like 48 hours ago because they tested positive. What? Why did the players go out and start warming up? Like, what a shit show!
Yeah.
You know, the whole reason you test is so you can preemptively cancel or postpone a game. You don't do it the day of.
Or
Now,
like when they're on the field.
when they're
already.
on the Bill Hamid literally looked over and he had his hands in the air. He was like, "What?"
Well, and then-
he's like, "Yeah, we knew they tested positive. We didn't."
Yeah. I'm sure it has something to do with whatever procedures they have put in place. Because I even heard, and this may have changed, they could play tomorrow. I'm guessing maybe if all the tests come back, the rest of the tests come back negative
Correct.
or whatever.
Correct.
But it's, so they might play tomorrow. I don't know how that's going to work, but they
Yeah,
might
but
play
that's a
tomorrow.
really bad look. So,
Yeah.
what you have are leagues really, honest to God, trying their best. But if you look at Europe, like Jerry was alluding to, Premier League has not skipped a beat.
Nope.
Bundesliga didn't skip a beat.
Nope.
They had players test positive before, right before it started, and there have been a handful during the thing, and they have been removed, and they do tracing and additional testing, and then they continue on. Why are we so far behind?
Why are we so scared? Is what I'm saying. Why are
well,
we so
that-
fucking
that's the
scared?
other part of it, too.
Now, if someone goes to the hospital, we're finished.
Right.
I think all the freaking leagues are finished.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. If you have a system in place, it seems like it can work. I just think people are not doing risk assessments. They're just running out of fear.
Yeah.
You know? But
I completely agree with that.
but I also
Some of it's warranted, but
yeah, I mean, I
all of it.
understand it, man. Like I said.
Well, again, it's real, it exists, and it is a concern.
Oh yeah.
And then at that point, what are the next, at that point, it becomes polarizing. You either go, okay, great, you just told me what it is, I'm going to go ahead and live my life. And then the other side goes, I'm going to close my doors and shut the windows because I don't want my family to get it. And they're
Well,
fear
and
mongers.
like if you're, I think I'm like I coach high school football. We're practicing. And none of us really think we're going to play, but none of us can really explain why we're not going to play because all of our kids seem fine,
Right.
and we don't test, but we make them fill out forms and we take their temperatures every practice, and we get our temperatures taken every practice, and
Right.
Do you have one?
I do.
Good.
It was normal.
Excellent. No, my kids are back with their respective clubs.
And everybody signs a waiver saying,
Correct.
"Hey, we realize that that things are unknown." And
Well, there's tons of safety protocols in place, right? And for various leagues and everything else. My one guy plays soccer, so it's a little bit different being outside, right? But they have to wear a mask up to the pitch to train, and then they put their stuff down and your own water bottle, your own gear, your own ball.
we
the whole nine.
practice in pods. And
Exactly.
nobody can get near
But you
each
know what?
other.
I'll give it to our coaches. They all have masks on, and they wave to parents at the car and kind of like, don't come up here and talk to us. Text us, let us know.
Perfect for the coaches.
Oh, it's ideal. They're loving life right now.
I mean, I wore a mask, But then if I didn't have COVID, I was going to die of heat exhaustion because I can't fucking breathe on the goddamn turf field, which is 105 degrees. So
Surprisingly, 105.
I take the mask
I figured
off.
they would have you guys up in the press box, like best of time style.
No,
kind of offense
how
with
can
Taft
you,
run.
How can you cuss at a kid from the press box, man?
Megaphone.
No, so I
system.
appreciate that we are attempting to get back with safety in mind.
Yeah.
Because you have to. There's no way around that. But it leads to the next question. Why are we doing all this if we're not going to play?
That's what I'm saying. Why are we doing all this?
I've told my guys, hey, stay in shape. If there are trainings, if there's practices, if there's tryouts, if there's anything else, do your best, go there. But honest to God, I don't know what that's going to lead to in 6 weeks when the fall hits. I have no idea.
Like locally here, MCPS is not. They've put out a proposed plan for school, but nobody's saying anything about sports. So it's like in limbo. I have a feeling if the kids are not in school, they're not going to be playing sports.
I don't think sports are going to happen
But
at the
you might as well
local
just say it now so people can prepare.
But everybody's so scared. They're scared of everything. They're scared of COVID. They're scared of what if they make the wrong decision. What if
they
we
should
give
know by now.
Yeah, but they're afraid to pull the trigger too soon or delay it too long, which is why you have all of this mishmash of information.
In Maryland, I don't think it's been better since the pandemic hit in terms of the hospitalizations. The doctors that I know they say we're empty.
Yep.
We're empty. We have a handful of COVID patients, but clearly not what it was. But I just don't. Once they hit that word phase 3,
Yep.
now you're full go in terms of sports, and they kept saying we're not going to do it if the numbers don't increase, or if the numbers do increase, we're not going to do it. But if it doesn't, we'll go to phase 3. But the numbers aren't seemingly increasing. The hospitalizations are going down.
Yep.
And there's so much fraud going on. I just don't know. I don't know what's true, what's not true. But if you're a politician, which all these people are, and you're MCPS, if one kid gets sick,
Yep.
that's on you, even with the release.
Yep.
So
No, I'm with you. It is a liability nightmare, probably more so than a health nightmare.
it's a liability. You can.
Liability because of health, but yes.
Yeah, but
the big thing
A
is-
PR nightmare.
Yes.
Well, no,
exactly.
The thing is, it's going to be the I really hope we don't see it. It's going to be that sob story of some athlete, great kid, rough upbringing, lives with grandma, gets COVID at practice, kills grandma, and that's what's going to happen.
true.
Yep,
And
that's a great point.
But
that is a
no
great
one
point.
wants that.
But
of course, I don't want
of
that.
Of course, you don't want it. But the flip side is everybody have to suffer for that.
Yeah, and that's
that
where we're
risk.
at right now.
Yeah.
That's
And maybe the
basically-
answer is yes.
and that's
Maybe-
what we've been
maybe
living
it's
in for the
yes.
last couple months, and for the foreseeable future. Things are loosening. It's a little better, but
But it's an interesting point because those are the same questions the professional leagues have.
Yep,
And they're going to decide it's worth the risk.
that's correct.
So
Yep.
And maybe if you get paid and everybody profits from the paycheck. I don't know. It's kind of callous, right? That it's a different story than a kid who just plays football and lives with grandma.
Well,
Right,
again, there's
right.
a more even playing field. Once you get to that professional level, you can sort of isolate that liability a little bit
Right.
to the people. in your
how
organization.
many grandmas are living with like hockey players?
Yeah.
They have separate houses.
Well, at that point, though, it's also
Unless you're like a fourth liner.
that's true. like Garrett Hathaway.
Yeah.
I'm
Garnet.
just kidding, Garnet.
Hey, who's the asshole that got drunk and took all the Instagram pictures or was talking shit? What was his name? He got cut.
Leipzig?
What's he up to?
He went to Russia, right? Well,
Yeah, I think- yeah.
Well,
He's now
He's a KHL guy.
he's a
yeah.
cage. No shit.
Yeah. The other
What a-
teams were like, "Yeah, you're a decent player," but
What
they're
a-
like,
what
an
a
asshole."
dumb fuck.
Yeah.
He got excommunicated to Siberia.
Pretty much. He's playing in like Mystery Alaska right now.
So have any Caps opted out? I knew that Gudis was talking about
but
not
he-
coming
but
back.
he's back.
He's back.
So,
yeah, sightings at Kettler.
So now he's going to come back and be a scratch. Good.
No, as far as I know, the Caps have a pretty decent roster. A bunch of the young guys from Hershey are able to come up because they have the expanded roster size.
Who's the kid that's going to be the what's it-
McMichael?
Is that
the young kid?
What's it called? The
Black Ace.
Black
Yeah,
Ace.
he's one
Yep.
of them. He's
Yep.
part of the group.
Yep. So pretty cool. Saw a picture today of all the Russian boys. They were at Ovi's house.
They looked so silly.
I know. So it was Ovi, Samsonov, Orlov, Kovalchuk, and Kuzi.
Kuzi.
Yep.
I'm telling you, man.
They looked happy. They looked ready to go,
I'm
man.
getting psyched a little bit.
I am too. I'm going to be honest. I obviously hockey we love, but it got taken away at such a critical juncture of the season. But people are asking me, they're like, but aren't you excited for baseball? My answer could not be a more definitive no. I don't give a flying fuck what they do. It is a 60-game season in a sport that plays 180 in a normal year. What the fuck does 60 games even mean?
Right. I mean, if they played 60 games last year, the Nationals would have been like one of the worst teams in baseball.
Yeah, like 6th or 7th from the bottom. I mean, so I do not care.
That's how I feel about the NBA. I
don't care about the NBA generally, but at least they're in the same boat as the NHL. They had 80%, 85% of the regular season done. So
right. The distinction is you're playing for something now.
Correct.
Right. In the Major League Baseball, they're playing 60 games of basically worthless shit, other than the fact that they have to qualify for the postseason. But the NBA and the NHL are jumping right into jump.
Correct.
So you may have a team. You may have a team that plays 1 week.
Right.
That's it.
Well, here with the NHL and NBA, you're essentially playing a complete season that just had an unforeseen break.
Right.
Major League, you're not actually playing a season.
Nope.
It's not a 60-game season, in my opinion. It's a 60-game exhibition.
Right.
To allow the players to make a little bit of money, allow the owners to make some money, to allow the fans to say, hey, at least we got to see our teams play.
But I'll watch that before I watch the NBA.
I probably will too.
I just like baseball more than I like the NBA.
I
hope college football or college basketball plays. I mean, that'd be nice. West Virginia's going to be loaded.
I'm hearing college basketball's.
I mean, if getting breathed on is what you're scared of, that can't be a worse sport than that, right?
Yeah. I mean,
who had one of the greatest tweets? He said, "This is NBA. I'm pretty sure." He's like, "We can set screens all day in practice. We can't play doubles ping pong. What the fuck?"
Yeah, I mean the
some of the loosening of the restrictions though that we've seen over in Europe.
The logic of everything is a little off-putting.
So when soccer came back in Germany, it was social distancing, including celebrations, right? And then it was. We have a contributor here to the podcast. Major is wreaking havoc over here on the equipment.
That's my boy.
So they had to social distance during celebrations, and they had to do all this other stuff. And one team, I think it was Leipzig or somebody over in Germany, got fined the second week because the players like all high-fived and stuff. And that has since loosened considerably.
Right.
And now, I mean, after the games now, they're not just going up and fist bumping. They're like all out hugging and like hanging out. And so the Premier League said, this is all fine, but no jersey swapping. I'm like, okay, I get it. But like they literally just embraced for like 5 minutes and talked about the kids and the family.
No jersey swapping on camera.
Yeah, right. I'm like, what the hell does a jersey swap have to do with anything? They literally just made out for 5 minutes while they were talking to each other.
They have to appear that they're trying.
Yeah, right. But some of the standards just contradict the others, and it's completely illogical.
Okay, so I am now numb to not having sports, so I haven't really been paying attention. I know that hockey's starting in the first week of August.
August 1.
Right. When is basketball starting?
July 30th or something.
Yeah, I think it's even before that. Okay. I think it's like 5 days before hockey. I want to say like the Wednesday or Thursday before.
And when is baseball starting?
July 23rd.
Okay, so that's the first.
I think so. I believe
baseball is the first because they got that. I want to say it's that Saturday or something.
So that's like in 10 days.
Yeah,
so
We're 2 to 3 weeks away from everything.
I think it's a week, 2 weeks from yesterday. It will have already started, but like the big first national game is like Nats Yankees on. I think that's Saturday.
And when does the NFL report? If
they do not have a date yet.
They don't have a date yet.
No.
But I think they're thinking about 10 or 12 days.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds right. I've heard a couple different ramblings. You know, Adam Schefter has said, you know, there are plans in place. There are lots and lots of details that are done, but there's equal number of details that are yet to be hashed out.
There's a couple big ones they have to work out. I think it may be preseason's one.
Yep. Well, they've already nixed 2 preseason games.
But the PA is like, no, let's just do 0. Why would we risk getting anybody sick?
You know
Absolutely.
why? You know why? It's not about being sick. It's a fucking waste. They don't get paid for that shit.
Right.
It's a waste of time.
It is a waste of time.
You need one game and a couple scrimmages and go play.
I agree. 0. Honestly,
this is actually, it's a way for people to negotiate in using the pandemic as buffer. Mm-hmm. To get rid of the shit they don't want to get rid of.
Yeah, right.
It's a way for the NHL to go play in the Olympics.
Yeah. Sure.
They want to go play in the Olympics.
Right.
But when it comes to the I'm probably the wrong person. I hate preseason football probably more than
I
most
will
things.
attest to that. No one has such vitriol for preseason football than Jeremy.
Well, I mean,
It's unwatchable.
how-
it is,
like,
but you
you know-
get excited. You get a little bit excited.
I don't actually get that excited for. I don't.
Oh,
well,
you did.
I
I'm
mean,
going to
no.
go back to a previous pod.
I mean, maybe I might for like a series. But
I'll
then I'm
watch
like,
it some because I wanted to see Haskins or I wanted to see LaClaurin or whatever last year. Of course, I'm going to watch it, but it doesn't mean it's not. I would much prefer it wasn't on.
Right.
Dude, you know who I'm excited about, and it ain't Chase Young. I mean,
Who's that?
I'm excited.
Sweat?
Gandy Golden. Have you seen some of his workout videos?
Yeah, I've seen the workout videos. but
McFarland says he's legit. I trust McFarland.
yeah, I'd like to see.
I saw that. Right? He said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I'd like to see-
I think he's going to be a contributor.
I think he's going to be good. And who's the kid from Memphis?
Oh, the kid,
yeah.
the kid who
Gibson.
could play like every different position.
Yeah, they actually talked about him on some national show I was listening to, and I was like, really? Somebody brought him up, and they were like, hey, watch out for this guy.
I
And
bet
they
you
were like,
Gandy Golden's the number 2.
Yeah, probably.
bet you he is.
Although again, I think a lot of that's going to depend on how much work they get in. If they do have
And
preseason,
how
I think
awesome
Harmon
is
can do
it? How awesome is it that he's working out with Haskins?
Yeah.
It's just
I think
awesome.
that's badass.
I don't understand. This is another thing I don't understand. I don't understand. Like Haskins, who's the freaking Phil Simms kid? That guy's a dumbass. Anyway,
Chris Sims.
he rated Haskins as the second worst quarterback in the league, and Burrow was like 10 quarterbacks or something higher.
I
than
think he
him.
was
How does
about
Chris
25
Sims even
quarterbacks
have
there.
a platform to rate
Well,
quarterbacks?
he's on Pro Football Talk, and he's on that shit.
That guy sucked.
No.
How's your spleen, Chris?
How the fuck is how the fuck do people think
I'm just
Joe
kidding, Chris.
Burrow is going to be better than Dwayne Haskins when one, Dwayne Haskins beat him out head to head in college, and second, Joe Burrow was a 4th round pick until he played in the best offense in college football history,
Yeah.
where all he had to do was to take a step, take the snap, take a step to the right, and throw it.
Well, isn't Burrow older than Haskins?
Yeah, by 3 or 4 years, I think even.
Yeah, Burrow's a fucking man already.
So
you know?
how can he, other than being fresh, right? And Haskins playing for the Redskins, which are, I mean, I get it, man. It's pretty safe bet to just say they're going to suck and their quarterback's going to suck. But like thinking about it, how is everybody so down on Haskins? I don't understand.
I don't understand either. And the knock on Haskins,
Like he may suck, but I don't know that.
well,
Yeah, we
here's the
don't
deal.
know that yet. That's for sure.
I actually listened to one of the local stations the other day, and they had this big debate on Haskins, and it made me want to throw up because they literally contradicted themselves the entire time. And one was taking the viewpoint of Haskins is going to be good, just give him time. The other guy said, no, we've seen all we can see. And then in their debate,
fuck is that mean?
in their debate, the guy that was naysaying Haskins goes, yeah, but I mean, the guy hasn't played that many games, even at college or pro level. And I'm like, so you just made a point against yourself because bottom line is this guy, if his upside is decent, we haven't even touched what he can do.
And his team around him gets better.
Sure.
You know, he
have
looks better.
We have no idea how good he can be because he's played so few games as a starter at a high level.
Here's what I know.
That's a positive in my opinion.
Here's what I've seen, right? His worst game was the 4 interception game against the Giants where they threw him in with no game planning, no practice, and they just said, throw it deep, right?
And the play calling in that game
the
was
play calling is Jay
atrocious.
Gruden. He had checked out, right? He got better as the year went on, right? They didn't win many more games, but he got better as the year went on. This offseason, he's lost weight.
Yep.
He's been working out.
Yep.
Because he posts everything about it, right?
Absolutely.
He looks better. Rivera seems to be happy with him.
So that's to me that's the biggest thing. Is he
So-
now has a stable head coach and coaching
Right.
staff that has a history
And he's
of-
working.
that has a history of competency.
Right.
And he's working. You
I
put
don't-
those two things together. I'm with you, Jerry. If he sucks, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just not cut out. But we have zero idea whether
And
he is or
I
not.
think this staff will give him that like 32 games he needs.
Without
unless he's a
question.
complete disaster and they end up.
or unless Kyle Allen comes out and throws like 30 touches and 5
Which
picks.
is probably not going to happen.
I don't think
all,
so.
in all 0 preseason games, he'll
And
have 30
look,
touchdowns.
Yeah, right.
all we're talking about is competency. I'm not talking about being Drew Brees.
Without question.
I'm talking about being Phillip Rivers.
Sure.
Even like in a normal year. I mean, I want you to be
Well-
close to the top 10.
We're not talking about Phillip Rivers because Phillip Rivers can't beat Maryland. At least Haskins beat Maryland.
Oh, nice. Nice throwback, Jeremy. All right. That was our heyday, Jerry. I'm sorry. That's
I
all
got
we
you,
had.
man.
That's
Steve
all we
Suter.
got.
Where's Steve Suter right now? Come on the pod,
He's
dude.
the man.
He
freaking hate-
probably could come on the pod.
I fucking hate that guy. He's probably working at Home Depot down in Gaithersburg.
They definitely
I
had
don't think
a.
his knees can handle that.
They had a throwback on Big Ten Network the other night. It was the Gator Bowl. I definitely watched it. It was so
Oh,
great.
that was so-
Fucking shoot me in the face.
That's so
Calling
awesome.
for a fucking plane at the
I got
second quarter.
FU'd so many times the night before that game. 0 after.
No, I mean, that's cool. Go back 30 years. It's your heyday.
30 years. Fuck you. It wasn't that long ago.
Let's talk about Steve Slayton. Holly said, "Who's Steve Slayton?" I said, "The greatest fucking running back of all time."
Steve Slayton was nasty. God, was that guy good?
Yeah.
That motherfucker.
Shit all
Didn't
over it.
didn't Jake Funk break his high school record though?
I don't know.
I believe he did.
Wow.
I want to say Funk got the record for touchdowns over Steve Slayton.
So if there is college football, Funk's going to be back for his 9th year at Maryland.
I know, man. 10th year senior. Oh, good old Funk. I love that
you,
kid.
Jake.
Love that kid. Again, it is a shame for college football because Maryland does have so much good young talent,
Yeah.
and I really kind of wanted to see. They weren't going to win that many games this year. Still, they're still a year away getting one of those young quarterbacks some actual reps, but would have been nice to see some playmakers, man.
I will say that I talked to, we had workouts today, and a Division III quarterback came, and he said it's official that they are now playing in the spring.
Yes.
So he got the confirm. I mean, it was rumored.
So
and
D3 National Junior College Athletic Association has said spring, and
Ivy Leagues, right?
Ivy League has said nothing basically until January 1st.
Right.
They're like we're done.
So I think the trend is going that way, and I don't understand why the NCAA doesn't do it now. I don't know what they're waiting for. I mean,
talk about a political nightmare.
NCAA has no control over anything. That's part of the problem. It's
Well,
the conferences.
They
Well,
think
why-
they
why
do. That's
can't-
the danger.
why can't NCAA say no one's playing football in the fall? I don't
Because
care
they
what conference.
Because
you're in.
because when you're playing your regular season games, it's like barely related to the NCAA.
But if you're the SEC, why would you want to be the only conference playing? How stupid is that?
Because you're the SEC. You think you're the only conference that exists
Right,
anyway.
but there's no
I
bowl
think they're
games.
basically the
There's no
minor
bowl
leagues for
games.
pro.
There's no bowl games. There's no playoff, and then
they
everybody
can-
else play in the spring.
No, they could do their own.
They can have their own playoff
Yeah, they could do an
tournament.
SEC like round robin. They could go, hey, if you're
You know
top
what?
four,
Maybe they are thinking that way. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
honest to
you
God,
think
if they
people
did
in,
it,
you
and
know,
if they were the only conference playing, I would watch. It would be
But you
entertaining.
know-
I'm sure they're considering that.
You know exactly they're considering it. All the leagues are saying, if we're the Power Five and we're the only game in town,
yeah.
could you imagine the viewership and the advertising?
and that's what it's all about right
And
now.
that's
it's
what they're
all
thinking.
I
about
almost
viewership.
would guarantee they're even looking, hey, we can double dip on this thing. We'll play our SEC, 8-game schedule this, maybe just within the divisions or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is in the fall. And then we're ready to rock and roll. We'll play maybe a 6-game deal in the spring where everybody else is playing their 8 or 10. Then we'll roll right into the bowl season and playoff or whatever it is, and we'll have a leg up, and we got twice as many games as everybody else or whatever it might be. It's not always going to happen.
I don't think so either.
With what's going on in Florida and all that kind of stuff, it's just none of this stuff's going to subside fast enough, at least in terms of optics, to make any sense.
I agree with you. I agree.
However, I have a theory on the table.
but
that
I
I'm
also
gonna-
agree with you. Why don't you just do it now? Just
Yeah.
do it
Team
now.
Oh
cancel
yeah,
that?
no,
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. I think waiting,
Well,
delaying all these decisions, I think is idiotic.
I
but
do think part because when was I know that because we heard about Maryland having a few players and staff test positive or whatever, but they're still only doing voluntary stuff. They
got
weren't back
suspended.
until right. But I mean,
Yeah.
even that, but it was voluntary.
correct.
So the actual team stuff wasn't going to be for almost another month.
Yeah.
like August 7th or
Something like that, yeah.
So it could be that they're waiting closer to when they're actually going to start to do it. But I hope,
Yeah.
to Jerry's point, really, I mean, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't the NFL where it actually could happen. It's not.
Right.
It's just not. So just let's stop this right now.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a couple minutes left. Let's go ahead. Instead of doing predictions on, hey, who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup? Who's going to win the NBA Finals? What are our thoughts on the 3 major sports leagues actually starting and finishing their proposed, seasons at this point? Like, do you think anything's going to come into play to derail the NHL or NBA postseason, or to come in and just put a nix into the MLB season?
Now, well, I don't know about basketball because I haven't been following that, but things like the NHL with the bubble, once you get into the bubble, I don't think it's going to derail it.
I don't think
but
so
it
either.
could derail it before you get there. You know what I mean?
See-
So if there's like an outbreak,
All right, so if you had to put a percentage on it, what do you think
I'd
right
say
now?
80% playing in the
Uh-huh.
NHL and the NBA, and I'd say because baseball's so socially distancing anyway. But the kicker is they're not in a bubble. I'd say 70% in Major League Baseball plays
Okay.
the entire 60 games.
I'm going to say, I mean, the only thing is in terms of NBA, I don't know if they have a similar sent up to the NHL with basically an extra like half a team ready to go if they need it. If they do, if they're similar to the NHL, I think both those are 80+%. Well, I think baseball, if they get started, which we'll make that a given for this point, I think it's probably even higher because it's outside. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go like a 90+ if they get started.
And I'll go 90+ with football because of the money.
Yep.
And just about football, I have been hearing that they've got their. I mean, I'm sure they do because of the money. They got their plans in place for a 10-game or a 12-game season if they need to,
which
things
is
like that.
What it should be anyway.
Yeah, it probably should be. You're right.
16 to 17 games is plus 4 fucking preseason games.
Well, preseason's off the table now.
I know, but generally.
But generally, yes, you're
that's
100%
ridiculously long.
100% right.
Well, again, preseason should be 0. So
preseason
so I'm
should
go.
be 1.
I'm going to go NBA. I'm going to go like
Forever.
I'm going to go like 75% because their rosters aren't as big as they could be, which is going to could be an issue. But I'm still going to say 75%.
They're going to bring their wives and girlfriends down. Some players have both.
Yep.
So they
probably more than 2.
I think the NHL, I think you're probably looking at closer to 85 to 90%. I think that the investment that they have made in getting these two cities ready, getting the scheduling ready, and the TV dollars on the line, and to Jeremy's point, the expansion of the roster in case somebody has to be removed.
Yeah.
I think the NHL is it's gonna happen.
But I think the NBA is well suited too because
I think so,
they're
too.
in Orlando, they're in a bubble. It's going to happen.
Sure. And they took a couple extra teams, right? I was joking earlier. Why are the Wizards there? Well, if the Wizards can't field a team, who gives a shit? They weren't going to make it anyway.
I mean, no wonder. I mean, I don't blame Bradley Beal at all. You're going to play 5 games.
Well,
why would you want to play 5 games?
No fucking way I would do that.
Not that
no way.
It matters, but that's we're talking about teams. I mean, like there's teams that aren't playing. We talked about MLS earlier. Didn't 2 teams bail completely? Also,
yeah.
Well, I think Brooklyn is a team that like half their guys have tested positive. Now, obviously, it should be cleared before anything starts. But if that happens, that's kind of what I'm saying about the Wizards. Like, well, if a team has to drop out, well, they're in by default.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
they almost should have quarantined in June altogether and all gotten it.
If they really
like the chicken pox when you were a kid.
I'm telling you,
seriously though.
Send little Jimmy over to get the chicken pox.
They are conspiracy theorists like Clemson. 60 kids have it.
Right.
And if the conspiracy theorists say, why not just all get it? Because none of you are getting that sick.
Right.
I mean,
so
I know a kid that had it. He felt like he had the cold.
Right.
And he's done.
Right.
So
now, Major League,
beat the crap out of the
I think Major League at this point is, I can't believe I'm saying this, damn near 100% because the roster sizes are already bigger than they even were before.
Yeah, because if 2 guys get it, you swap them out.
Exactly.
And you play.
And
you have, I mean, obviously the minor leagues are finished. For the year, right? But, but you can pull those guys up.
Oh, sure.
They're probably.
Well, I mean, on the local front, the O's on the upside, that kid Adley Rushman, the big top pick, he's actually going to be on the roster. Right. That's fucking awesome for him.
Aren't they going with like 50 guys or something like that?
Yeah, it's
basically saying Double A is up or Triple A is up.
Because but there will be cases and people will be out.
Yes.
Right. So every
Correct.
team's going to.
The reason you test is not to hope and pray there's no case. The reason you test is to identify it immediately and remove that from the equation.
Because, like I said, MLB is not in a bubble, so they're going to be more at risk, and there will be more cases in the MLB because like you said, they're just starting out, and so they have a longer.
Yep.
Like I think if you're the NHL, like look, guys, we're going to have a lot of restrictions here.
Yep.
And it's
just play nice.
Just play nice, and we're going to the playoffs.
Everybody's got their own hotel. Every team,
except that we're in the fucking hotel with the goddamn Penguins. The Caps and the Penguins are sharing a hotel. How do we not fight those fuckers?
They don't give a shit. They're going to do Jaeger bombs at the end of the night.
They probably will.
Together.
Speaking of which, I say that's what we do now.
But why can't Kuznetsov just throw a bunch of blow in Crosby's freaking hotel room and call the cops on him?
Crosby would have no idea what it was.
Yes, he would.
He'd be like, "What is that, sir? Chalk? I have no idea."
Do you know I'm Sidney Crosby?
Yeah. He'll put on his balls like talcum powder.
That is a great way to sign off for the week.
Yeah, fuck you, man. Penguins. I hate you. I hope you all lose, but not. No, I want you to win.
Don't lose in the plan.
We can't lose. We can't lose in the first round. We can't let those fucking guys get 2 generational talents back to back in the same draft. Can you imagine that shit?
No, I have no idea.
I'd rather Redskins be called the Red Tails than friggin' them getting Crosby and Ovechkin back to back in the same fucking draft.
That's never going to happen. It would never happen.
All
right. So with that,
fuck you, Pittsburgh.
Let's hope.
Glee.
These 3 professional sports leagues kind of lay the groundwork, get everything moving forward so that we can enjoy professional sports. We can kind of see it from afar until we can see it in person, hopefully sooner rather than later. And, this is just the next step in whatever, is bringing us back to normalcy.
Why can't we just play all sports so I can watch them on TV and still socially distance with my mask on?
We're almost there, Jerry. We're almost there, bro.
Why can't it just
Hang
be about
in there,
me?
buddy. Hang in there, buddy.
Everybody else needs a sacrifice.
So until next week, wishing you and your families the best. Stay safe, stay happy, stay active, and watch your favorite sports teams. And hey, support your local businesses. Breweries at the top of the list.
Child labor, China. Child labor in China. NBA, fuckers.
Until then, wings, beers, and tears. Peace.
Peace.
Later.